Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dru Chavez, and with me today, Paxton Hall. Paxton, how you doing today?
Very good.
And I'm so happy you're here on the show. Pax, for the folks at home, Pax and I met freshman year, New North Residential. We go way back, but it's awesome to kind of see how we both grew together at USC, and you're coming out with a new social platform, Mixed Bowl. Tell me about it.
So Mixed Bowl was inspired by Humans of New York. The idea is that I would go out with you, sit down over a bowl of ice cream. We would talk about different racial and cultural issues and have that conversation, which a lot of people are afraid to have nowadays, but they need to be had. And then I'll snap your photo, get a quote or something like that that I really enjoyed, put it on Instagram, and then also put a podcast of our conversation on Instagram. Or not on Instagram, but on our website.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Awesome. And, you know, it's funny, when I was thinking about, you know, prepping for this show, I thought, why Paxton Hall? Right? What did you have, or what did you experience that kind of made this kind of turn it into what it is today? But just, you know, things that I know, Paxton Hall, studying business administration from the Marshall School of Business, from Tacoma, Washington. But is there anything more to that? Anything more that you have to bring to the table?
Yeah, man. So I grew up in a military family. Okay. So yes, I am from Tacoma, Washington, but I've moved around quite a bit. So I was born in Seattle, actually, then had to move to Hawaii for a couple years, then to Virginia, came back to Tacoma. As you said, I go to school in Los Angeles. Right. Spent a summer working in Beijing, China. This past summer, I just finished up working right outside of Chicago. So, you know, over the time, I've gotten to meet so many different people, all types of colors, absolutely, all types of different beliefs. And really one of my inspirations for starting Mixed Bowl was just meeting all those different people.
Right. Well, that's awesome. And, you know, we have the website here today, and I'm going to kind of scroll through it quite a bit. And so here's just kind of the home page. And talk about this, you know, the design. You designed it, correct?
I did, yeah.
Okay. And then this logo here.
So, again, I'm sitting down with you and we're eating ice cream. So I wanted to make a logo that was flashy and sort of incorporate that ice cream aspect. So there you go. That is the Mixed Bowl.
Okay. And then we're going to go through the team just a little bit. So there you are. We know the founder. We know Paxton.
Yeah. That is me. Then to the right here, we have A.D. Campuzano. She goes to the University of Arizona. Really good friend, very bubbly, just awesome to talk to, and she's great to have people to interview for. Then next up, we have David Woon. He's our video production manager. Whenever you see a video coming out with Mixed Bowl, he's the guy behind the camera making sure everything looks real nice.
Great. And then it looks like you have one video up right now, and it's a message from you, right? We're not going to play it right now because we have you with us today. But it looks like you also have a podcast, right?
Yeah, and again, we just came out with our first podcast, so here's David up here. It's on iTunes, so if you want to, you know, search for Mixed Bowl on iTunes, you can find it there. But really, people have terrific things to say. Absolutely. Terrific things to say.
Right, and the kind of the bread and butter of Mixed Bowl is kind of this Instagram where you've been having these conversations, right? You see my picture there. It's no secret. We interviewed each other. So we'll click on one here, and Lindsay Estrada, our friend.
Yeah, so she's a good friend of mine. Her story was very interesting for her. She's mixed race also. And she almost enjoys when people are confused by it. And it's like a game for her, you know, guess Lindsay's race. So far, nobody's won, though, is what she told me. So some people are very lighthearted with it. I know some people, though, if you get their race wrong right away, they're offended. They're like, what? You thought I was that? So, again, people have very different views on it, and it's awesome just to hear those different views.
Right, and as you're interviewing these students, right, do you find any commonalities or the sense of almost wanting to be politically correct, right? Because we're currently in academia, we go to USC, and we all are somewhat in a similar market when it comes to speaking of these things. Any commonalities amongst everyone?
So what I've seen so far, people of color very willing to talk about their experiences and how they think racial relations should be. But on the flip side, when I talk to white people, it's almost like because they haven't experienced any type of racism or negative treatment in the past because of their race, they feel as though they can't talk about racial issues. And that itself is a big issue. Because both of these forces, whether you're a person of color or whether you're white, they have to combine somehow. And that's really what I want to start with Mixed Bowl, is having that conversation so people of color can feel comfortable talking to white people about things like this. And it doesn't have to be a very intense conversation. It's just sitting down and trying to get to know each other better.
Yeah.
Because that's what has to happen. People have to know each other better.
Right, and I love this idea of just the combination and these connections. As someone who also falls under the category of mixed race, you know, so often I have this internal struggle when I'm filling out something, right? Do I need to choose Hispanic or white? But in reality, I'm a combination of the both. And it's really the moment that I understand that I can connect those two, and that's what makes me who I am and what I bring to the table. I mean, truly, that's the beautiful thing of it all. And from my understanding, you also have a similar situation in more of a professional setting of this idea of the combination versus the kind of the singularity of it. So can you speak a bit about that?
Yeah. So I've worked since I was 16 in a lot of different places.
Okay.
This one company in particular, they have this onboarding process. So it's very much just a form where you have to fill out like name, address, phone number, and then there's a section for choosing your ethnicity. Now, I'm half black, half white. That's what I am. So I checked black and I checked white. There was no mixed race or multiracial option. I give the form in. A couple minutes later, the guy comes back who processes the forms, and he says, hey, you know, you're going to have to pick one or the other. And this is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's like having to choose between an awesome mom and an awesome dad. I love them both to death, and you're telling me I have to pick one or the other so your system can process it correctly? And I think that's an issue. And it's not that whoever was processing it or created the form, it's not like they were bad people. They just didn't know. So hopefully conversations like these can be had so in the future, whoever is running companies or making these forms or things like that, they'll be aware of what actually goes on.
Yeah, absolutely. And as we go through this, right, we are on this transcend of old school mentality to new school mentality of what it means to be diverse, right? Everyone's looking for it. At the end of the day, be a student, be it in a professional setting, give me a quick elevator pitch of why should people care?
By 2050, America is going to be a majority minority, meaning that the majority of people will be people of color in America. Now, whether you're looking at your workplace, the school you or your kids go to, or your community, there's going to be a lot more people that are different colors. And if we don't find a way now to have those conversations so all of those different groups of people can get together, it's going to hold us back economically and socially.
I believe it. I'm right there with you. Well, Paxton, I want to thank you for being on the show today. I commend your hard work, your dedication, and your ambition. I'm proud to be your buddy, right? I'm excited of where this thing can take all of us, right, as a people. It's a beautiful thing to see. And that's all we have time for today, folks. Until next time, have a good day.